Good day to everyone. Thank you so much for joining this webinar on food allergen management. I am Titenda Prince. Maybe you can just all call me Prince. So today I am going to be the moderator for this webinar. And thank you to everyone who is joining and also currently joining. I see Valence, I see Shailene, I see Malusi, I also see Hello, yeah, and Opara Beatrice. Thank you so much for joining, and also hoping that we're going to have so many people also joining in the next few minutes. Anyways, without wasting any time, this webinar is called the Food Allergen Management, which is partly brought to you by the Global Food Business Network. So I would also want to just give a brief about myself. I am Tutenda. I am a recent graduate. I have a degree in bachelor's of technology, honors degree in food processing technology from the RA Institute. Right now, I'm currently actually studying wheat milling technology at one of the biggest milling company right in Zimbabwe, which is the National Food. And also, I also work at Associated Meat Meat Packers, where I was a quality assurance assistant. So we also got to have so much knowledge about food safety. So today we're going to be having, we have our three panelists whom I really want to be able to give so many a vote of thanks for a vote of thanks. We have got Dr. Junaid Ahmad. Dr. Junaid Ahmad, thank you so much for joining us. We also have got Karabo Makhodi. Thank you so much, Mr. Karabo. And then we have got Michael Adetu. So we're going to be having quite interesting conversations about food allergen management. And also, if you are from the audience, please make sure that when we're going to be having presentations from our highly esteemed panelists. You're going to be taking notes, and also you're going to be taking some questions that you can, so that you, after the presentations, you can also feel free to be able to ask the panelists some of the burning questions that you have. So please, let's just make sure that we want to make this webinar so interesting. So we want to make sure that we have got so much knowledge that we will just acquire from this webinar. So please, from the audience, feel free to ask any questions that you think you have, and yeah, and then so that we can have interesting conversations right here on our webinar. So without wasting any time, we're going to first start with Dr. Junaid Ahmad, who is a quality process expert, KOH SE professional, and food safety specialist. Dr. Junaid Ahmad, welcome to our food allergen management webinar.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I hope this should be an interesting webinar on food allergens. I will not present anything on screen, but I will be speaking related to the allergen and allergen management. Shall we start, or you will have to discuss anything else?
I think we can start. Is it okay with you?
Yeah, it's okay for me.
With your presentation first.
Okay. Okay. I hope we have audience which is related to food safety, food industries, or maybe some of them are in academics, so that we can talk in that way, because we have to consider all the audience from academics, from food industry, or other relevant industries, or general people maybe there are. So I will start with the basics, and before that, I would thank the Food Safety Network for inviting me to discuss about this important topic. It's not really only about compliance, it's about there is a human touch in it, because safety of people and lives of people are involved. And it's so important for all the people, because many people are concerned, they are confused about what allergens are, how should we take care of this, and all these things we will discuss, and how we will manage these allergens in the shop floor, I mean, in the food industry and beyond. So let me talk about first what basically the allergens are. These are allergens are naturally occurring proteins, which when a person ingests them, his body considers these allergens or substances as a threat or a harm to its defense system. So a human body automatically responds to those allergens, and this autoimmune reaction causes several issues, and it can sometimes be life-threatening. We call that anaphylactic shock. So this is very important. There are a number of reported allergen cases around the world, around the globe, the, which that allergens have been life-threatening to people. So in that sense, the allergen management is very, very important. So, what else is there? What importance of these allergens is beyond like it creates problem in the health and it's life-threatening. What else is there that makes it necessary to take care of allergen management? The other things are brand reputation of a company. If a company does not take care of the allergens and it goes into the market and it creates issues and it causes problem, discomfort to the people, the brand of that company will get down and its sales will get down. And one more thing is compliance from regulatory bodies. There are very strict regulations on allergen management, and nowadays it's a hot topic in the industry. It's also sometimes confusing topic to many people. So these days it's very hot topic, and auditors and the regulatory bodies are focusing on these issues. So that's why allergen management and allergens are important for food safety professionals and for everyone outside the food safety industry or food industry. So the main thing here is the one thing is compliance, brand reputation, and the most important thing that I already told is it's life-threatening, as it is known to cause various reactions, which includes rashes, short breath if a person takes it, and also anaphylactic shock, which causes death to a person if it is ingested. Can I quickly say that am I audible to everyone, or is my voice clear? Can someone
Very
respond me?
audible, very audible, Doc.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for confirming. Now let's go to the major allergen groups, there are two major allergen categories that have been defined by regulatory bodies. EU, European Union have made 14 known allergens, which includes peanuts, celery, milk, cereal, gluten-containing cereals, sesame seeds, mollusks, soybean seeds, eggs, fish, crustaceans, lupin, tree nuts, which includes almonds, hazelnuts, pistachios, or other types of nuts, mustard, and sometimes sulfur dioxide is also considered allergen. There is also big nine where only few of them are we take off them, and we call that big nine. It's given by US FDA. Uh, so the main important thing, all these allergens, they are harmful for health, and we need to take care of them. We need to consider them in our food safety plans, in our HACCP plans, in food industries. So the main thing here is to how we manage those allergens. How do we manage those in food industry? What steps we have to take to avoid such things, avoid these life-threatening things to reach to consumer. So if we start from step by step, Well, the first thing a food industry, a food business have to take care of the ingredients that it is taking from outside, from the suppliers. So every industry, every food business organization is taking ingredients from the suppliers. So we have to take care, we have to see whether these ingredients that we are using in our production or in our manufacturing process, whether they are allergens or non-allergens. That means the first thing that we have to take care of is supplier control. We should have supplier control. We should have supplier programs that are necessary to control, to ensure that whatever we are taking in, it's confirmed whether it is allergen, whether it is non-allergen material, so that we can further take that in the process, and we can take control measures accordingly to avoid any kind of misinformation or miscommunication or any kind of mishappening that can go beyond. Mostly sometimes even allergen declarations are not properly given by suppliers. So we have to take care of here where it's very important that we take care of supplier control. We should have every industry, every food business operator should have a supplier control program, which is ensuring that the supplier or the manufacturer of that ingredient is taking all the controls, is providing us proper declarations, is providing every bit of information regarding that ingredient that we are going to use in our production. So these things have happened. There have been several cases where uh, the supplier has not provided proper declaration of allergens. So the food business operators, they have used those ingredients without labeling them on their product, because the supplier declaration was not the supplier declaration was saying there's no allergen, and then later it was found there is presence of allergen. So we have to take care of this first setup, so that we ensure that whatever we get into the business or whatever we use in our processing, it is confirmed that there is no allergen or it is allergen. Then when we are sure about our supplier program, we have to take other control measures in our food industry. Like when we take these ingredients from the suppliers, then we have to take care of the transportation. We go into the transportation. We have to see whether we are segregating there in transportation. When we load these allergens, is there any chance of cross-contamination? Are there any other ingredients which are not allergens that are we transporting with those allergens? Are we doing that? If we are doing that, that means, again, we are in the wrong direction. We have to make sure while transporting these ingredients to food business or to the manufacturing site, we have to segregate them properly, or we have to use different reefers or trucks to transport allergens and non-allergens. If we don't have that facility to use different trucks, we have to make separate chambers for allergens and non-allergens while taking them to the food business manufacturing site. After that, when we have received that material, when the food business have received that from the supplier through transportation, then how we are storing that in our processing. We have material storage facilities. Every industry have, even if it is a small industry, they have material storage facilities. There we have to take care of how we are segregating allergens from non-allergens, how we are there. Sometimes if there is spillage of allergens, how we are controlling that spillage, how we are making sure that there is no cross-contamination between allergens and non-allergens. So these things we have to consider while storage also. And the other thing is, we should have trained operators, trained people who know these things, who know what is the impact of allergens cross-contamination. Now, before I proceed further in the facility, how we control, I would like to say that there are recalls. There have been most number of recalls are from allergens. Now we have recalls because of foreign bodies. We have recalls because of other things, microbiological issues, pathogenic microbes, and different things. But the most reason of recalls have been allergens. If we talk about 2024, out of 296 recalls, 101 recalls are due to allergen related things. um, Due to allergen related things. In 2025 itself, there have been 340 recalls, out of which 120 recalls of allergen related. That means even if this is a hot topic, there is increase in allergen recalls, allergen related recalls. That makes it very important again to take care of allergen control. So, one more thing I would like to tell you that these allergen recalls are mainly due to mislabeling. That's the number one cause. Then after that is cross-contamination, cross-contamination inside the manufacturing site, and there are other causes also. So this is the thing. These are the things. That's why the first thing I told is supplier control. When we are getting the ingredients from or anything from suppliers, any ingredient from suppliers, we have to make sure we should have a proper supplier management program, supplier control program in place that is seeing whether we are controlling those allergens, whether we are getting proper information, whether we are getting right materials from the suppliers. And we should also audit those suppliers, because sometimes suppliers can say that we have all the controls in place, but we need to go to those sites, go to those suppliers, check their documents, check their processes, and confirm whether they really are taking care of those controls or not. So now let's go back to the receiving stage. I told you the material storage there should be segregation in place. There should be dedicated tools which we are using for allergens, and dedicated tools which we are using for non-allergens. Uh, Also, there should be some color coding which defines this is allergen zone, this is non-allergen zone. And there should we have also to take care of environment, because these allergens are known to transfer from one zone to other zone through air. So that means we should have zoning system also in our material storage and also in our production floor. We should have handlers which are handling allergens separately, and those which are not handling other materials, regular materials. And we should have how we can create this zoning. There's the concept of negative pressures. We can develop negative pressure, and by that we can control the flow of allergens, flow of air. Flow of air. The flow of air can be from non-allergen zone to allergen zone, but it can never be. It should never be. It must never be from allergen zone to non-allergen zone. So we have to take care of zoning also. Then after that, if we go further, we go to our main process, where we are scaling the ingredients to make some product, where we are mixing those products. We have to take care there whether there is any possibility of cross contamination, and throughout the line, from the beginning of the process of a product till the end of the process, till the packaging, we have to map each and every part of the line, and we have to see what are the possible cross-contamination zones, what are the possible points where there could be cross-contamination from allergens to non-allergens. then we have to think accordingly. We have to make plans accordingly. We have to schedule the products accordingly. Now, the scheduling regarding scheduling, there may be facilities which are producing allergen products as well as non-allergen products on the same line. And most of the food businesses, food manufacturing sites, we have this scenario where we are producing allergens as well as non-allergens on the same line. So we have to take care of the scheduling at that time. That means first we should produce non-allergen products which do not have allergens. Then we can, after that, we can go for non-allergen products. But here we have to take care of scheduling after we are producing allergen related product or allergen containing product in a product processing line. After that, there comes issues how we are cleaning, how we are making sure that there are no allergen presence after we are done with allergen related production. Then if after allergen related production, next day we are going to produce non-allergen product again, how we are making sure that there is no cross-contamination, that there is no cross-contamination of allergen, there are no residues of allergen. There comes cleaning validation. So when we are cleaning these processing lines, we have to validate our cleaning. We have to validate our cleaning. What do I mean by validating? Validating. Sometimes we are cleaning our production lines, and visually it seems that everything is crystal clear, everything is perfect. There's no allergen. You can see visually anything, and it seems perfectly clean. And so many food businesses think that there's no allergen, and they go ahead with the product which does not contain allergen. So we have to think about this. We cannot assume controls. We cannot assume controls. We have to validate them. We have to prove them that they are really controlling the risk. They are really controlling the cross contamination. So how we would do that? If we think about it, am I still audible or hello?
You are audible, Doc. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I think there's a time limitation also. I will just wrap it up quickly. So we have to take care of this allergen cross-contamination during production. Then there is a concept of target allergen that I want to say here. Target allergen, where we have to see, we may have 10 allergens in production line. What we will do in that case, we will select how we will validate in that case. We will select the most difficult scenario. That means the allergen which is more sticky to the lines, which is difficult to clean. We'll select that as our base for validation of the control measures here. Then we will we will take the tests, allergen tests, and see whether we are able to clean that difficult allergen, and then we will go for we will use that validation for others as well. This is only in those cases where the money or investment is problem. In that case, we can use target allergen. I hope let's give chance to other people to speak. Then we can have further discussion during the panel discussion. Thank you so much, and let's go
Thank you
ahead
so
with
much.
welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Junaid Ahmad, for that interesting conversation. Well, I hope that we have all been listening and we have also been jotting down some questions. So right now, maybe before we move on to the next panelist, maybe if there's anyone who has any questions, sometimes you have questions and you don't want to ask at the end because sometimes we might have forgot those questions. So we can actually start right now from the presentation that Dr. Junaid Ahmad has been presenting. Is there anyone with the question? And please, from our floor, please feel comfortable, feel free to ask any questions as we are all here to learn. So anyone with a question?
Please ask questions because it would be interactive in that way and we can learn from each other. It's not only one person will speak and you are here. So you should ask questions so that I can also learn from the question.
Yeah. Anyone with a question, guys? So I think for me, I think the first question maybe that I would just want to try to understand is what are the potential consequences of, failing to validate cleaning procedures in allergen management?
No, this is now the potential consequence is, there will be regulatory issues, regulatory legal issues, because if you are not able to validate the allergens, if you are not able to do that, that means you are putting the customers in risk. That in your validation says, for example, you are saying that there is no possibility of cross-contamination. Then you are sending the product and mentioning in the label that there is no such product. You're not mentioning that allergen. When it goes to the market and, there could be anything. There are very, very minor doses. For example, we say ED01 and ED05. ED01 means that's a dose that only 1% of allergic people who are allergic to allergens they are having problem with this dose. And ED05, it is 5% of that allergen will cause immune response. To only those 5% of the people who are allergic will respond to ED05. So if you are saying, if you are not sure about the validation, that means you are definitely putting the consumers on risk. So it's very dangerous.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor. Anyone with another question, please, guys? Let's feel free. Let's feel free to ask any questions regarding this topic.
So I might have one for the doctor. So
thank you so much.
Could you maybe advise to say, just as you were speaking earlier, to say FDA has got this, has listed these, and also I understand the other governing issues to say, for example, the codex also has their own list, and now it's when you go online, you'll probably find it's between 8 and 14. But then in other sites, you'll probably find other people listing because the list has just been growing more and more with each year that comes. So which site or because what happens in my audits is usually you get to a point where they just ask you to say, what's your source to say if there's any update that's in the system. Say if you are dealing with FSSC, you'll probably just say FSSC will update us. Or if you're dealing with this particular, so in this case, which site or where can we best get updates? Which you maybe advise to say this site will probably keep you posted on what's going on, especially because the other stuff that you want to be up to date with is there anyone who is having similar trouble? There might not be any changes in terms of the number of allergens, but there's some other stuff that has happened to a processor similar to yours. So you just want to be up to date on that. Which one would you advise?
For me, in Saudi Arabia, we actually follow European Union most of the times. We consider these 14 allergens. But this, if you'll see, this is not 14 or 8. There may be some. This allergen thing is regional also. There may be some allergen where people from one region, they're allergic to certain compounds. But this has been, limited. It's based on the data that they are saying how many people are allergic to this, and based on that data, they are considering, okay, this is 14 is the number. This is based on risk. Now, if we increase this number of allergens, then we are actually making other problem. We are making this food non-accessible to many people. Sometimes it's it's not like I was talking before, ED01 and ED05. If we think ED01 is only 1% of those people are allergic, and we should have doses we should consider these ED01 doses. But if you see practically, that is not reliable because we don't have equipments also. We don't have testing machines also that could really confirm that ED01, that, they are very small doses. It is very difficult to detect also. And then ED05, 5%, that's higher dose. That's more practical because if we go for ED01, it makes the food non-accessible to these patients. They already have very limited number of options. Then if we are going to lower options, but there are also consequences for that. That's why this is a continuous discussion. The updates are going on. In 2027, probably we will have final. There is one thing called PAL, precautionary allergen labeling, which is very confusing topic where we have to say whether we have to label this ingredient or we don't have to label this ingredient. So it depends. This allergen, it's regional thing also. So we can adopt. I think in Saudi Arabia we are considering these 14 allergens. We are mostly adopting European Union, and you can go by any way. You can adopt US FDA. We should always we should always see what are the allergen, what people are saying. Then we have something called a risk assessment. We have to take data from our countries also, what's going on. Well, we have to take data from the hospitals. Are there allergen reactions related to this allergen or related to this product? Then we can go ahead and think what is the best for us. I hope it's clear.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Phil. Anyone else with another question? Anyone else? I think I also have got maybe the last question for me, Doctor. When it comes to about allergen labeling. So I was just taking a look at some different products in the market. Some will be labeled. Maybe this product was made in a factory that uses cow's milk or soy. And there's some companies will have their packaging labeled this product may contain cow's milk. So I want to understand, are there any strict rules pertaining to allergen labeling?
Yeah, definitely, because if you'll see the version 6 of FSSC, it definitely clearly says that we should have proper validation. That's what I was talking about, Paul, precautionary allergen labeling. That means so why we say may contain. We cannot write on the label may contain if we have not validated. That means this is for some companies, this is very simple thing to do. So they are not validating the things. Then to prevent themselves from regulatory or legal issues, they will say may contain this, may contain this, may contain this. So, but that's not allowed. If you have not validated the cleaning, if you have not taken all the controls, to ensure that I will reduce this allergen, you are not allowed to label may contain this, may contain that. No, you have to validate. If your validation says that we cannot do anything further to control this to control this particular allergen, then only we can say may contain this, because now we don't have anything in our hand to control that particular allergen. Only after that validation, only after that confirmation that we have done 100% of our controls, of our effort to control that allergen, but still there may be traces that could trigger autoimmune response in the people allergic to those allergens, then we can use may contain. But if we have not validated, if we have not took all the controls, took all the efforts to control those allergens, we cannot say may contain, and it is definitely a wrong thing to do.
All right, noted. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Tatenda.
Yes.
Whilst I still have him. So I've got a situation where I use brine in my factory. So the one that supplies me brine says it may contain, the brine that they're supplying may contain traces of some allergy. It was made in a factory that processes some other allergens. So in my case, it makes it a bit easier because my supplier approval program says that if the organization that's supplying is accredited in some way, say for example, it's FSSC certified, then I don't have to audit it, and I sort of have to trust in it because obviously the accreditation board is holding it account in some sense. But then what then happens in a setup where my supplier, I am processor, my supplier is saying it may contain traces. So then if I'm using that as one of my raw materials, do I then also have to say, since this guy, because obviously I'm going to go through and audit that person. But what happens with people that are not accredited or because taking it for example, this end in Zimbabwe, you see that there isn't that much of legislation. People, the governance over issues to do with the stuff like say in terms of food safety, you'll notice that it's been maybe 2 decades and our system hasn't been updated to say in terms of legislation controlling food safety. So then my question comes back to say my supplier, I go to them, I see them saying maybe they do validation on a yearly basis. Obviously, I'll advise them because remember, at the end of the day, as much as I want this, I want to have an allergen safe product, I also want business. He is one of the 2 customers in Zimbabwe that can supply me. So I want to trade carefully. So now, what happened in this case, coming back to my question, what should I do in the case that I see that my supplier is saying it may contain traces? So then does that mean I should also say, in my case, I've got it controlled. I think with the stuff that I am processing, say I process meat, I might not necessarily need to be going through looking for allergens. Do I need to label to say it may also contain traces?
That's why, I told that supplier program, we should have supplier program. We should actually, it goes back to your food safety policy. What's your food safety policy? What's your commitment? What your organization wants? And it's not always about regulations, even if country allows something, but we have to always think in terms of businesses does not flourish when they leave some things. Business always flourish when they provide quality, when they provide a brand that is ensuring customers that they can provide high quality products. You can, if people believe on you, have full trust on you, your sales will go up. Believe me, we have many things. We are saying, oh, there are difficulties. It's not a crystal ball, or it's not a very simple thing. There will be difficulties. There will be difficulties, but if a company is taking these controls seriously, that has a certain that's sure that this company will grow. But coming back to your question, if your supplier is suppose FSSC audited and they have certification. Now certification is always not a guarantee that it is just on one day the certification body will go there and they will say, okay, today they were not they were using, everything was perfect. But you should have your, when in your industry, you should have supplier control program. You should see their valid. Okay, you should ask them. Okay, you validated this thing. How do you validated this thing? Can you provide me those documents? How you validated? When you will see those documents, when you will see those methods of validation, how they have validated, what they have considered, whether they have considered their all the risks that are possible, and if they have considered, then it's okay. If they have not considered, then you have to raise this question to them, and then that's the thing we have to go about. Now, always think about there are you other thing you told that we have limited suppliers sometimes, but what if you accepted a supplier product from supplier and then somebody died, and then there were illegal issues against your company? What you will do at that time? we have to think in all perspectives, and we have to, make sure, in Saudi Arabia or in our company, which my company where I'm working is, producing. There is Dujan Bakery Dujan. We are producing many products here. This is one of the biggest company here in Saudi Arabia. It's named Almarai. Uh, we are dealing with many suppliers, but we have control in place. If we find there is something off, we definitely reject that supplier. We cancel the orders also. There is sometimes impact on business also, but you have to, if you will take care of the quality, then people will take care of your business.
I think just to add on, can you guys hear me? It's Karabo here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Karabo. Thank you.
Yes.
Just to add on what Dr. Junaid said, it's also just important as you are going to that supplier, you must understand, do they have their controls in place? If they don't have their risk assessment that shows how they properly control allergens, then that's where the issue comes through. When as the supplier, when as the client, as you receive the material, do you trust that the material has not been contaminated or not? Remember, you are in charge of supplying a good product to your customer, right? A good quality product. What has the client done, the supplier done to ensure that your product is going to be safe for them? So you need to properly audit all the risks that are there, that are going to protect your customer from actually getting an allergen. Just because they've labeled that does not mean they might have proper controls, or they might have a good risk assessment that really identifies all the issues that can control the allergens or any allergen cross-contamination before you get that particular material. I'm not sure if you understand.
Yeah, I understand. I hear you. I hear you. Taken under consideration, yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you also so much to Karabo and Dr. Junaid. Anyone with another question? Last question, guys? All right. So since there's no one with the question, let me just move on to our chat to see if we have anyone saying anything. We have got Melusi. Thank you so much, Melusi. Melusi says, supporting clean validation in food industries under food allergen management. Effective food allergen management is crucial in the food industry, and supporting clean validation actually does play a vital role in ensuring consumer safety. So by conducting through risk assessments, developing and implementing effective cleaning procedures, and utilizing validated methods to detect allergens, food manufacturers can minimize actually contamination risks. Regular sampling and testing, coupled with accurate record keeping, further reinforce these efforts. Ultimately, prioritizing clean validation demonstrates a commitment to food safety and quality, protecting consumers and upholding industry and standards. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Melissa, for that. So thank you. So thank you so much to Dr. Junaid Ahmad. That was quite an interesting conversation. Thank you guys also for the questions. For Dr. Junaid, actually, he's a food safety and quality compliance specialist with a PhD and post-harvest engineering and technology. Dr. Junaid, thank you so much. We really appreciate for the nuggets and the lessons that we learned from you.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, so now we are about to move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker, his name is Mr. Michael Adetu, who is a digital transformation and food systems expert with extensive experience in the food and beverage manufacturing sector. Before we move on to Mr. Michael Adetu, we just want to also welcome other people that are still joining in. Thank you so much for joining in. This is the Food Allergens Management webinar, proudly brought to you by the Global Food Business Network, which is a central platform where the global food and beverage industry connects to collaborate, innovate, and grow. We operate as membership-based network, providing an ecosystem and resources that actually support businesses of all sizes worldwide. So yeah, you can always make sure that you can also be a member under the Global Food Business Network. But anyways, without wasting any time, we are now going to move on to Mr. Michael Adetu for his presentation. Mr. Michael, thank you so much. You can begin.
Right, thank you, Tatenda. And
Thank
that was
you.
a wonderful presentation from Dr. Junaid. I'm just going to share my screen now. Please let me know if you can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
All right, so I don't intend to take more time because Dr. Junaid already touched on most of the things I would probably be talking about. A brief background about myself. I know the poster already contains those details. I've spent over a decade within the food and beverage manufacturing, started off in the family-owned business. So you can imagine I've worked in all kind of departments when it comes to manufacturing, from farm to fork. I've been fully involved in the entire supply chain. And my latest ambition in the past 7 years has been around digitalization, around for food and beverage. So today, what I really wanted to focus on, I know Dr. Junaid already covered some of those topics, but I would just glance through it. So I want to focus on common food allergens and how these allergens have impact on your health. Some digital tools that would be very useful for you as a manufacturer, and the steps that businesses and individuals could take to ensure safer food choices. So again, I know we started out, you might be surprised, some people don't even know what food allergen is, and they are on this meeting. As you can see right from your screen, food allergens are some natural occurring substances that could affect you. Either they can cause you a trigger, they can result in abnormal immune response. So different region, different people have different reactions to certain allergens, as you have seen mentioned by Dr. Junaid. Dr. Junaid also touched on some of these points. So some common food allergens that you would see cut across peanut, milk, lupins, gluten, fish, sesame seeds, and it just cut across in different areas. And different regions have different way they react to these allergens. But what is important to note here is that when you get exposed to certain allergen, it can range from it can have health impacts, and it can range from either mild to severe. And in a mild situation, you might have some stomach ache, or you can have itching or rashes. When it gets really fatal, you can have a whole heavy reaction across the entire body. Okay, so it can be really, really serious. And this is why food manufacturers are really encouraged to ensure that they have very robust program in place on how they manage allergens. Just to put this in some context, in the US alone, we have over 33 million people who have food allergen, all right? And you'll be surprised that among these 33 million people, about 5.9 of them are children, and they're under 18. So that means that in every 1 to 13 cases of allergen reaction, one of them is a kid. And you can imagine you having a family, you want to ensure that when you are buying from your supplier or buying from your manufacturer or buying from the supermarket, you just trust that the supplier or the supermarket or the retail selling to you has already done what they needed to do to ensure the entire supply chain is allergen free, so that whatever you are bringing onto your table to feed yourself or your children is safe for you. So again, the question then is how does these allergens get into the supply chain? It could be right from the harvesting before it gets to the consumer. It could be at the point of getting it out of the farm. In your case, it could be maybe you are a bakery manufacturer, or you operate within the protein or meat manufacturing industry, where you have a carcass house, where you have a slaughterhouse. It could come from where you are sourcing your raw material. Dr. Junaid already covered some of these points, but what is important here is that you have to ensure that across the entire process, from farm to fork, or from harvesting to processing to packaging to labeling, transportation, to when it gets to your consumer, you want to ensure that you have proper control. It's not just having a robust plan for your allergen. You must segment those allergen control for each of those stages that your supply chain touch. So you could be surprised that you might have a very very tailored approach for your harvesting to ensure allergen is controlled there. It might be different from what you do in your warehouse location, how you store in your bin. It might be different from what you do or the process you follow when your guys on the shop floor trying to take raw material from your warehouse for production. It might be different when you are loading onto your truck or when you are labeling your product or packaging. So just make sure that each of those stages, see them independently and address their unique allergen issue that you might have there so that you can have a real tailored support for each of those stages across your entire supply chain. Again, some digital tools that are useful that I've seen in my experience in the past is that, you could use some digital tools like an ERP system, for example, like Aptin Food and Beverage, have a very good solution in place to help you manage your allergens, to help you label, understand where you are keeping what, to ensure that there is no cross-contamination, to ensure you have proper program in place. You can have food safety and traceability software like Safe Food 360, is very, very good. You can have some labeling solution as well. Nice label is good. I've seen that used as well. You'll be surprised that some allergen are caused just because of wrong labeling. So you want to ensure you have some very important digital tools in place. And recently, what I've noticed is that there has been a lot of AI initiative around managing allergens or managing your product specification, defining your ingredients, declarations, and all those kind of details. Tools like Allergen AI and Trace Gains are very, very good in the industry. It's being used heavily in the US and in the UK here. So you might want to consider some of these tools, and they are very, very useful. As a business, it's important for you to understand, like I mentioned earlier, instead of seeing the entire allergen support to look at your entire organization, look at them as segments. Take your harvesting process and look at it. Take your warehouse, look at it on its own. Take your packaging process, your transportation. By the time you've then developed a tailored context support allergen program for each of those stages, you can now have an overarching goal process that look at the entire thing to ensure that they are properly synced. What I've seen in the past is that companies will have a very robust allergen program in entire organization, but again, it still leave you with a black spot and gray spot for each of those steps across your entire supply chain. I just got some of these images from Food Docs. You can check it out. They provide a lot of information around how you manage your allergens. Some key goals you can have as a business is to ensure you have a proper documentation in place, ensure there is proper training of your employee, ensure there is accurate labeling, and you ensure you prevent cross-contamination. So these are very, very useful. But what I want you to take away from me here today is that when you're looking at your allergen management and control as a business or as a manufacturer, don't look at it as the entire business. Look at it at the stages. Take your harvesting process, look at it and develop a program that support that. Because the allergen control or support you will need for your harvesting process might be different for what you need for your production. It might be different for what you need for your warehousing. It might be different for what you need for your packaging or transportation or for your labeling. So ensure that all of that is properly defined and you can have an overarching process that would sit on it. I know I've just run through the slide because again, as I'm aware, I'm supposed to start, I think 15 minutes ago, but if you want to connect to have more details, I know there will be more subsequent webinar that will come up. But I just thought to just share this with you. Connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have any question, I'll still be at hand to answer some of those questions. But thank you for your time and for your opportunity. I couldn't go into much details because Dr. Junaid already covered some of that. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Michael Adetu. Now back with Mr. Michael Adetu with his presentation on food allergen. You can actually, you can actually send in your questions and then we can be able to respond to them maybe later. But anyways, thank you so much. A lot of thanks. Thank you so much for the presentation, for the interesting insights, on food allergen. Anyways, right now, so without wasting any time, we're now going to move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker, he's a quality and food safety specialist with over 7 years of experience in the food manufacturing He has extensive expertise in FSSC 22000 and HACCP, HACCP, as some would like to say, and ISO 22000 systems with a strong background in auditing, process validation, and allergen management for canning and condiments. Today, we are about to have a presentation from Mr. Karabo Makhodi. Mr. Karabo, good evening.
Good evening, good evening. Tatenda, how are you?
I'm good, and you? Thank you so much for coming through
Good.
to our webinar.
It's a pleasure. I think I'll just share my screen with everybody shortly. Please just bear with me. I'm not sure if you guys can be able to see my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Okay, great. There. Can you guys still see my screen? No, there we go. I'm not gonna go into detail in terms of the introduction because the two previous presenters have went through it, but just also a bit about the allergens. It's very important that we understand this is a global food concern. Anybody and everybody that works in the food manufacturing industry that handles allergens needs to be as vigilant as they can be to be able to protect the customers. I'm gonna go to the next slide. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Now, my biggest objective, because I normally work with small businesses and bigger businesses, obviously, let's cover why it matters to be able to detect these particular allergens. Obviously, for small businesses, it's to be able to protect local customers, prevent losses, and be able to build trust. For bigger companies, in most cases, because they would normally develop systems, but because of compliance purposes, they have to be able to detect these particular allergens, because if nobody does this, they then stand a chance of having lawsuits and recalls that could cost so much money to the businesses that they are running, this being big and small. So they've covered the major allergens and obviously other allergens that are there, and obviously how do we get allergens in our products. This is through cross-contamination. If you're having shared equipment between your non-allergenic products and your allergenic products, if you're having poor cleaning regimes, and obviously inadequate labeling of your material, that also leads to cross-contaminations. But the principle here that we need to understand before I go into the testings that we do, it's what's on the label must be in the product. So if it's not on the label, it should not be in that particular product. So obviously, the little testings or the testings that are normally done in food manufacturing industries, these are protein based. So there's an ELISA test that is being done. This is accurate and it's a gold standard. And obviously, there's LFDS strip tests that are being there or they're being done also to detect these allergens. These are quick and very affordable. There's also DNA based, which are PCRs. They're very sensitive and they're mostly used in laboratories. And then obviously the advanced ones would be a mass spectrometry. This is precise, but if you're a small organization, this seems too pricey for you. And yeah, the other things that people, or rather other testing methods that are there, it's swabs testing. Obviously, this verifies your cleaning, the importance for all businesses. If you can't afford the most expensive or the other tests that are being there. I think let's go into just detailing what each test mean and its pros and cons towards the process itself, or rather in terms of the test and what it gives to us. So obviously, in your rapid allergen detection, this is the LFD. This looks like the strips that you do when you would normally do if you've ever done a rapid HIV test. These would just give you the results immediately if there's detection. Sorry, there. So this is used as antibodies specific to allergen proteins. So the allergen proteins will bind to antibodies on a strip test, and then you'll have visual lines as indicators that are present there. This is normally, if you are running a small business, is ideal for you because it is a quick check. And if you're running small batches, you can quickly verify if there's any traces of allergens there. So you can quickly detect any cross-contaminations of allergens that shouldn't be in that particular product. So the pros here, it's fast, it's simple, it's low costly, and it's portable. The issue here is just the qualitative test. It's not as sensitive as a more expensive test. And then obviously you've got an ELISA. This is based on an enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay. So this is based on antigen antibody binding. So it's enzymes that are reaction procedures that will give you color proportional to allergen concentration. This is a quantitative. Also, it is a gold standard for regulatory compliance. Most bigger organizations will use this. And obviously its applications will then be, if you are running a batch to batch, you can verify if there's any cross-contaminations there. And then obviously in your finished product, you can use this as a release method to be able to detect if there's anything in your final product that should not be there. The pros, it's very sensitive, it's quantitative, which is good. The cons, it's that it's lab-based. If you are a small organization not having a laboratory, then it's a problem. It's time consuming. Yeah, so then we'll go to the other one, which is a polymerase chain reaction. This detects the DNA that is specific to the allergenic species that you are looking for. And this also amplifies even small DNA traces. So it uses using thermal cycles. So the detection is via fluorescence. So this is useful for highly processed food where protein detection is unreliable, right? And the pros here would be it's highly sensitive, and the cons would be it's expensive. If you're a small organization, that it's difficult for you to get that. It's lab-based as well, and also detects DNA, not protein. This also is one of the other expensive methods that are there that you can use to detect your allergens within your products. This is a mass spectrometry. And then obviously it separates proteins or peptides via liquid chromatography, right? So the mass spectrometer identifies allergenic peptides, and then it's highly sensitive and very precise, right? It can detect multiple allergens simultaneously. Its applications, it's multi-allergen detection, it's complex matrices, and it's normally used in research-based laboratories. And the pros here, it's extremely precise as opposed to the strips that you use. And then the cons here is it's expensive. So if you're in a small organization as well, this would not be ideal for you to go for. Obviously, if you are a small organization, I think this can work for you. So this is an environmental swabbing and verification. So here you're detecting allergen residues in equipment, your utensils, and your surfaces. You're using swabs to collect whatever proteins that are there. It's tested via LFD or ELISA. Those are the first tests that I did show that they look like they give you indicators. So you'd have strips after you've tested for a specific allergen. So if you are testing for milk, you will then be able to get milk there. If you're testing for egg, you will be able to get a positive reaction if there is egg there, or negative reaction based on what allergen you are testing for. So its applications is very important. It's useful in small, which is SMEs, small micro enterprises, and it verifies the line cleanliness. Large companies also use it as monitoring for their GMP. And the pros here, it detects cross contact. So if there's any cross contamination that happened, during your cleaning, so it also validates your cleaning. I think Phil had mentioned that how do I validate if the supplier that is giving me doesn't have any cross contamination in terms of the material that I'm receiving from them. This is another method that you can use to say, do you have these systems in place to be able to verify that the product that I'm getting does not have any cross contamination from any other allergen that should not be there. So the cons, it's just surface level detection only, nothing major there. And then obviously these are the different methods. If anybody wants this presentation, you can always get it. These are the different methods. This is just a summary of all the methods that I've went through. I'm gonna go through the slide as well. So the biggest thing for sampling and interpretation, right? It's important that if you are running any facility with allergens, you use risk-based approach. So high-risk products, high-risk allergen ingredients. You need adequate sampling sizes. You can't depend on small sizes just to be able to detect whatever that you want to detect. It's impossible. It's important that you look at the size that you're trying to get to, and then you look at your batch size, and then from there you can use the sampling to say this is how much I need to test, or this is the size that I have and how much can I test from this. Also, you need to be able to identify your environmental zones. Now, the nice thing about it, you can have routine and very targeted testing based on risk and history. So history would then be on things like your statistical process control. What data have you collected in the past, and what decisions are we making based on the risks that we find in the factory, or of the allergens that we have. So positive is if you do test for your allergens and you detect that they are there in a product that they shouldn't be there, it's important to quarantine. Quarantining just means you isolate whatever stock that is there. You need to you need to start an RCA, or root cause analysis. And then you need to have corrective actions to say, what are you going to do with that particular stock? That's the most important thing. If you detect anything in your product or in your line and you've ran production, it's important that you isolate that stock. You need to do a root cause analysis, and you need to have proper corrective actions to make sure that we don't, and preventative actions to make sure that you don't have the same issue happening again. So how do we respond to these particular detections? Obviously, I've spoken about the quarantining of the affected product. It needs a multidisciplinary team to do this investigation. You need to investigate the root cause that could have happened that led to the cross contact. If it happens from the supplier side, it's also very important that you have the supplier on board, and then look at your cleaning regime. If your cleaning regime fails within the process, that's also part of the things that you can put within your investigation. Have lessons learned there to be able to correct this issue and never have it again. And then obviously corrective actions that you can have as you've detected whatever that you might have detected, which is an allergen that is cross-contacted into another product. It's to look at your cleaning again. You need to do retraining of whoever that operators that are working on the line to be able to do cleaning. And then you need to also do process modifications. This could also lead to changing of the chemicals that are there that you're using within your factory. Are they effective at removing whatever allergens that you need? Obviously, verification that could be there is retesting to ensure effectiveness of your process, right? And then also communicate. If there's any issues where your product might have went to the market, it's important that a recall of that product is communicated with all stakeholders, so that we can not cause harm to our consumers. So the preventative measures that you can have is for small businesses is you need to have a non-allergen product first, and then you can have color codes of whatever utensils that you use, do training, and because of cost, you can have strip tests there. Obviously, for large corporations, they'll have dedicated lines that run allergens, and they'll have approved suppliers that would have validated cleaning procedures, and you would have validated their processes, looked at previous history of what they've done in terms of their non-conformances. If they had anything like this, how did they deal up with it? And you can also do and schedule mock recalls to be able to see if they can be able to detect and see how the allergens are controlled within their premises. Let's give you guys a case, or rather an example here. So here's a scenario where you've got an undeclared peanut in protein chocolate bar. Are we still together, guys, on the line?
Yes, we're together.
Okay. So if you're a small organization in that regard, the first thing that you would want to do, you did not declare that there's peanut in your chocolate bar. The first thing that you need to do once you start identifying this particular issue is to quarantine. Again, everything that has to do with detection that's an non-conformance, you need to quarantine or isolate. You need to investigate the supplier. If a matter is coming from the supplier's ingredients and you did not know, or a supplier had a cross-contamination on their side, you need to investigate that particular supplier. You need to also retrain your staff. Contaminations normally happen because of staff. They might be exchanging material or mixing up material during receiving of the ingredients, or as they're weighing the ingredients, they're using different types of scoops in different types of ingredients, and that that affects and will lead to cross contaminations. Obviously, here you will need to withdraw the product if it went to the market. For large corporations, obviously this is to halt production because they would have maybe a dedicated line that runs allergens there, and then you then do a recall. And it's very important then, if you are doing any recall, notify all regulators, and then do investigations with the supplier. If your own risk assessment is followed and you don't have any loops within the processes that you have put or controls that you've put in place. So I want you guys to take away from this presentation from me is that so allergens are very they are an issue within the food safety space, and there is no tolerance of it. Obviously there's a zero tolerance in terms of it, because it's a hazard to other people that can't stomach those particular allergens. So for both SMEs, which is small micro enterprises, and large manufacturers, they need strategies, they need procedures, and they need systems in place that helps them to identify, control these particular allergens as they come in the factory. And as we're running and we're cleaning, how do we identify them? We need some sort of a kit that can help us to be able to identify if we still have traces of this allergen after we've done cleaning. Obviously, if you are an SME, you can then get those rapid kits. And then if you are a bigger company, you can have an LSI or better robust verifications than for large companies. And yeah, prevention is cheaper than a recall. It's important that we do our risk assessments so that we can easily or quickly identify any cross contaminations that happens within the process. And in closing, and allergen management is important to protecting our customers and building trust and to safeguard our businesses. Nobody that runs a business wants to have a recall. So if there's any questions, I'm willing to take them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Karabo, for the insightful presentation. Well, as Mr. Karabo says to the companies, prevention is indeed better than a recall. And allergen management control is not just a practice that we're just supposed to take for. It's a practice that will be able to protect our consumers. So right now we are going to be, from the panel, from the audience, please feel free to send in your question. You can send in your question through the chat, or you can also be able to speak through. So if you have any questions, right now is the time to ask any question for Mr. Karabo. So please feel free. Guys, let's make this webinar interactive because we all want to learn and have so much information. So now the floor is to you guys, the audience. Please, send in those questions. Anyone with a question? Anyone with the question?
All right, Tatenda.
Yes, Phil.
Okay, before I go anywhere else, it would be wrong for me not to applaud the people that have came before. The presentations were on spot, and it's always one of those things where you realize, obviously you are in your own sector and you think, I've amassed so much. I know a bit of this and that in my sector, but there's always new stuff to learn. And also from what I'm picking up is on our end, just giving you guys context on especially if I'll give Zimbabwe for an example to say, we know that there's issues to do with allergens, but right now it's a matter of food security rather than it's a setup where there's even lack as in we're trying to maximize on production rather than look into issues to do with quality. But at the end of the day, like he pointed out, to say, imagine a setup where there's a kid that gets sick just because you guys were trying to maximize on business um or some or just make sure that you're trying to sweep everything under the. So, guys, am I still at one? There's something that's happening with the whiteboard or something. Okay. Hello?
Hi,
Hello?
Phil. I think you're still on the line. I think I pressed something on my keyboard by mistake.
Okay. Oh, that's fine. Yeah. So what I was just saying is, thank you. And then the other thing on my end, it seems I don't have much of any possible sources. From my risk assessment, the biggest threat was personnel. Where do you guys recognize it? How much of a threat? I just want to know from other people that are on the call to say how much of a threat do you recognize? Do you see personnel being? Because in my case, I would say there isn't any other issue that I would really stress, especially in terms of allergens. But then the personnel are the only people that can come into the factory with particular stuff. In my case, I'm working with people that, yeah, of course, I do trainings. I'm trying to emphasize on stuff to say this is what it does. These are the consequences. But I'm working with people to say most of them haven't even seen classroom door for the entirety of their lives. Most of these guys, because on a farm, and just the people that are around it, most of these guys aren't learned, but then obviously with experience, they've been taught, they know how to do their jobs. But then this is a new guy, new quality personnel that's coming in and saying, guys, what you've been doing, the stuff that you have been coming with, can you please make sure that you separate your work clothes to the food stuff that you come with from home? Or can you, because you at some point you get, I'm just saying this from the time that we started. Now we're an FSSC certified factory. But I'm just saying it's been a long road. But also I wouldn't want to say because now we're certified it means we are on top of everything. How are you guys doing it with your guys?
Shall I say something regarding this?
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. For this, I discussed in between one point that is your top management response or your top management response or your food policy, food safety policy, food safety culture. How is your food safety culture? The it all goes down to the top management. If your top management is supportive and they take it seriously, it will go down the line to your operator also. Because sometimes there are organizations where I have seen in different places. I have visited different places, different factories where I have talked to personally to people, to operator level, to the people who are working online on shop floor. So they opened up and they are saying, okay, our managers, they are saying, sometimes they are also not taking care. Your leadership skills are very important. If your supervisor is not taking care of some things, then obviously the one who is working on the shop floor, who is not that much educated, will not take care because he will think he's looking to you, he's looking to his supervisor, he's looking to his manager, he's looking to his top manager, he's looking how people are responding. It's not always about we scold some person or we say we have to deal it in a different way, different angle. And obviously, if it is top priority of business, it goes down the line. There are schemes, you can sometimes, if they are following the things, if they are following the protocols, GMP protocols, you can have some, some presents for them, something that makes them happy, or you can in your own personal behavior, if it is followed by the supervisors, top managers, then it goes definitely down to the line because then at some point of time they think, oh, it really is important. And it's also in your speech. If you say to them something, and as a supervisor or as a manager, if they feel okay, they are also not, they are just doing their job. That way also they will not follow, because that's why food safety culture is very, very important.
Just to add on, Dr. Junaid, I think one of the other things that I have seen being implemented in multiple factories was the cascading down of quality at source. It allows and empowers operators and shop floor to be in charge of the process themselves. So you don't need to run around and run around everybody and trying to convince, or rather show them how quality needs to look. In fact, they run with it themselves. That's how you get to have compliant premises. Yeah, so that's what I've seen, that people are doing that in terms of taking quality back to the source, where the operators and the shop floor are in charge of the deviations that are there. Yes, you work with them to ensure that they understand. So any quality controls or quality systems that need to be implemented, they are the ones that run with it, as opposed to you just always enforcing it, and they're not taking ownership of the process.
Thank you so much, Karabo. Mr. Phil, have you been answered?
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
All right. Any other question? We're looking forward to more questions, guys. Any questions from the audience?
Hi, I want to ask a question.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Yes, I want to ask a question, please.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, my question is to Mr. Michael. Okay, so he gave us a presentation about the food supply chain. So my question is, after the whole testing and detecting of the whole food allergen, and is there a way, or is there any possible means of the food ingredients or the food packaging being contaminated by allergen during transportation?
All right. It is very unfortunate that Mr. Michael had applied to attend to, so he has left. Is it possible if Dr. Junaid or maybe Mr. Karabo, if you can to answer?
Actually, I did not listen this question properly because there was some voice issue for me. So if you can repeat this so that I can.
Okay, my question was that after the whole testing of allergens and doing the packaging of the food materials, is it possible for an allergen to still get into the food during transportation? Like, what do we have to do during transportation to make sure that the food packaging is still intact before getting to the consumers?
For packaging to be intact, there are several tests. We call that leak tester. Leak tester. We test that packaging material that is a container that contains water with pressure, that applies pressure. When we put that packaged material inside that leak tester and we apply pressure, it tells us how much pressure the package can bear, whether it could handle the transportation pressure, whether it could handle the any kind of pressure or handling pressure or palletizing pressure. So obviously, whenever we are going for package, whenever we do any package trial, we see these things. We are validating these packaging materials, whether they are able to bear load, whether they are able to, withstand the pressures that's required while transportation and, while handling them. I think that's your question, or it's something else. Have I picked the question right or no?
Sorry, yes, that was my question. That was my question. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Jokwara and Dr. Junaid. Anyone else with a question? Thank you so much from
So sorry, I have one
Chikamo.
more question again.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, we talked about detecting of different ways of detecting of food allergens. So I
Yes.
remember there was one we spoke about strip or so for small business people. So what if someone is trying to enter into the food industry? Let's say probably the person wants to venture in and start with meat, protein, and the rest. Does it mean that the strip can go both ways for every food allergen, or only a certain type of food allergen it can go for?
So the strips they detect allergen proteins. Obviously, they are specific for. So you'd have ones that can detect milk, ones can detect eggs and so forth. So they are specific to whatever allergen that you are looking to detect within the thingy, your process.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Karabo and Okware. Thank you so much for the questions. I hope that you have been answered. Just looking at the chat, thank you so much to the message from Kamogelo. Kamo says, consumers are not only strangers. Your loved one will actually be the one consuming the same product that was manufactured under inferior manufacturing environments with poor food safety management systems. Food safety is not just a cherry on top, it is mandatory. So sometimes you might think, you might take shortcuts, and then in the next 2 years, you hear that one of your relatives or even your child consumed one of the products that was inferior with allergy. So we just have to make sure that we take proper steps in controlling food allergen management. All right, we also have got a message from Valence. Valence says it is very true. People are now maximizing production instead of safety, where safety should always come first. And also, yeah, from Kamukela once again, she says very insightful presentations from all the speakers. Thank you so much. Thank you also. So thank you so much to you also, Kamukela, for being able to join in and participate in this webinar. Before I close it, any questions? No questions? All right, so it is with immense gratitude that I stand here to extend a heartfelt of thanks on behalf of everyone present and also Global Food Business Network. We have been privileged to hear from Mr. Karabo, Mr. Michael, and Dr. Junaid. Thank you so much for being able to participate. We appreciate your presentations and your points and information. I'm sure we have all learned. And also to everyone, please note that we are Global Food Business Network. This is a central platform where the global food and beverage industry connects to collaborate, innovate, and grow. And you can always collaborate with us. Please make sure that you can follow us on all our social media platforms. On LinkedIn, we are Global Food Business Network. On Facebook, once again, it's Global Food Business Network. And you can also go visit our website, which is www.globalfoodbusinessnetwork.com. If you want to email us, you can email info@gfbn.co.zw. From me, your host, Tenda Prince Chitanene, it has been a wonderful time spent that I spent with you all, and also I've got so much information that I think I'm also ready to share with my peers. Until next time, thank you so much to our panelists, Dr. Junaid. Thank you so much, Mr. Karabo, and Mr. Michael Adetu, who has already left. Thank you so much. I heartfelt appreciation to all of you.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please have a fantastic and good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.